Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me. This is Palace of the Court and I am Stephen Dawes. Don't forget to subscribe for all the latest Crystal Palace news, views and reviews. And today, talking about the Ipswich game. So if you haven't seen it yet, then I will be talking about spoilers. So do go and check it out before you come back here and listen to what I've got to say about it. It was a scrappy game. It wasn't a very some people call it an ugly game, and I guess you could probably say that. In terms of the lineup, we had Doucouré back in the middle with Hughes, and apart from that, it was a pretty settled team. The same team as we had against Newcastle, I think, really, if I remember rightly. My mind's going anyway. So yeah, that's what we had to work with. And to be fair, I did expect this game to be a tough one because Ipswich are working hard to try and get themselves up the table, just as we are. They're a well organised team and they do work incredibly hard, which I expected, and what we actually did get, we got a pretty hard fight. If I'm honest with you, I think that it was one of those games where either team could have won it, because going into the first half, I think that we did try and battle hard. We did try to play our game, but Ipswich were playing a very similar game to us. They were pressing high, they were pushing forward, they were closing down very quickly, a bit quicker than we were actually at times, and made it hard for us. Made it hard for us to get anything past them. Made it very difficult to get behind them, to get balls behind the defence and stuff like that. They were very well organised, and I felt that it was quite an open game in some ways, because I think there were spells when they had us pinned into our box, there were spells when we had them pinned into our box and into their box even. So it was a very difficult game. I think we had chances though. We had a couple of chances. Eze had a good chance, and and a couple of others came a bit close as well. Munoz came close as well. But I felt that even though we were having chances, and I think we had the measure of chances over them in the end, it was one of those again where we didn't take the chances. And I felt that, especially towards the second half, they were starting to get a little bit more impressive. Because the first half was, I would say, according to the stats, it was mostly us. We had the more possession, we had the more shots and things like that. We had the more corners. So it was very much to our advantage in the first half. Second half, I think it was a bit more in their direction. They started to be a bit more, had a bit more impetus. They were starting to, play a little bit quicker, up the tempo of the game. Made it very difficult for us to play our game. And I think what was happening was we were getting pushed back, and even though we were trying to play out, it was getting very difficult because we were giving the balls away, sometimes very silly balls away. And part of it was that we were, and it's something that Glasner does, and I understand that, because what he wants to do is get the ball out and then we can push up. So I understand what he's doing. But sometimes when we get the ball in our final third and we're having players coming at us, we tend to just lop it upwards up the pitch and hope that JP gets on the end of it, which he does sometimes. Most of the time he doesn't, and so it just ends up falling to one of their players. But then of course it gives us a chance to push out and push up. So I understand the reason behind it, but what it means is that we tend to just give away possession far too easily, and at times there was Ipswich was just bringing it back in again. It was making things a bit difficult for us, which is how they're going to play. But in the second half, it was a nice little piece of play that actually got us the goal. It was a good pass by Sarr to Eze, and Eze onto JP, and he actually the strength he had in that little run was fantastic. Got one defender down on his backside, wrestling with another defender, and managed to clip it with his left foot over the keeper into the back of the net. Great little goal, absolutely great little goal, and great to see him kicking the corner flags again. That was good to see. So yeah, that was a wonderful little goal, and I think it was a bit of a shock to Ipswich, because even though we did have chances, they'd also had chances. So I think they were probably thinking they were likely to score first. But it was a good game. And then, of course, after that, it was quite inevitable they were going to try and push a bit harder. Made it a little bit easier for us to get in then behind them, and almost straight away we nearly got another opportunity to score, but we didn't. But JP didn't score that one. It was saved by the keeper. But anyway, so we had a bit more space after they started to push forward a bit more. But it also meant it was a bit more of an afternoon for us to fight to keep the ball out, and they came close a number of times. A couple of good saves by Henderson, a couple of flashing across the goal that I had to hold my breath in case someone was going to run in and get it. So they came very close to it, and I think if you were someone who was an impartial person, if you were neither fan of neither club, you could probably say it should have been a draw, because there was that much toing and froing. But we held on for the win, so it's valuable 3 points for us, absolutely valuable 3 points, and I think that we deserved it because we played really well against Newcastle. I think we played better in terms of the football we played against Newcastle than we did against Ipswich. Ipswich was a battle, and I knew it was going to be, because that's what Ipswich made it. They made it a battle. And even though we didn't see a lot of great play by Munoz, I mean, Munoz and Sarr and even Eze was having to run back and defend and get players back and things like that. JP even did his fair share of it. So there wasn't a lot of the running forward with the ball, putting crosses in, although we did do a few of those. Most of it was the players running back to try and get the ball and to try and defend the ball. So from that point of view, it wasn't a very good game in terms of technical ability and playing things like that, but it was a win nevertheless, and it certainly is something that is desperately needed. There are a few people who wondered, should we really be struggling so much against Ipswich? But I think that Ipswich are going to make it a hard game for us. They've made it hard games for a number of teams in the Premier League. They just haven't had the rub of the green with it. So I don't think there's anything negative about that, about the way that we had to play. However, in terms of individuals, I felt that Lacroix again had another good game. He was very cool, calm, collected again. I felt that JP obviously had a great game. It was a great goal that he created, and also he had to work really hard for the team before that and after that, so he put in a good shift. Munoz again played really well. I thought that even though he wasn't getting forward as much as he probably wanted to, he was fighting in there for us. I felt Eze had a good game. I think he actually played well. He came off in the second half for Delaney, but yeah, he had a good game. I think that Doucouré was okay. I mean, I don't think he's still 100%. He was a little bit off pace, struggling a little bit to keep up with people, struggling a little bit in the tackle, got himself a yellow card. So he was substituted at half time for Jefferson Lerma, and I think that's probably a good idea because he had that yellow card. He was struggling a little bit, so and Jefferson Lerma had a great second half. Of course, he played really well. I think everyone played really well. To be fair, everyone did their job. Everyone had a good shift, and I think that is a good team at the moment. Obviously, we're going to have players coming back, but that is a good core of a team that is starting to gel really well at the moment. So fingers crossed, as I always say, this is going to be the start of something good. Obviously, our next game is Manchester City, which is never going to be an easy game, but we'll have to wait and see for that. Let me know what you think down in the comment section, as always, about the game. Let me know what you think about how everybody played, and also don't forget, if you're not subscribed yet, do subscribe so that you can stay around for my preview of the Man City game, which is going to be coming up later on this week. So don't forget that, and until the next time, I will see you next time.